Hello and welcome to another episode of my development diary series for Mongoose Traveller on Foundry Virtual Tabletop. I'm Samuel Penn, known as Not a Snark on Discord and other places, and I've been continuing my work to develop the system integration for Mongoose Traveller on Foundry. Recently, most of the work has been around supporting HighGuard. I have been taking a look at implementing the HighGuard rules and the HighGuard chip designs. I'll sort of come to a couple of these a bit later, but as well as doing that, there's a few other changes that have been made over the past few weeks. So first of all, a nice easy feature. If we go to configuration settings, we now have a default traveller field in here, and you can set the name of an actor, which should be a traveller or NPC type. And if we find that, we can see our default traveller is there. So it's the name of the actor you put in there. You don't need to put in a UUID. And if you specify different skills on here, so we've covered editing skills previously, but it's possible to add skills from here, for example. So electronics. So let's add in. We could add in a security skill there. Specialization of electronics. Save. Okay, so we've now got a extra skill added on that character, but that's only on that one character. You can add skills to a actor package and then drag them onto other character sheets if you want to, but by setting a default traveller, that hasn't changed. So when we come to, let's create a character called Fred, we can see it's copied in the skills from the default traveller to here automatically. So we have these two skills here, which I created earlier, Mystic and Martial, and Electronics is both marked as trained, and also we have the new security skill. So we should remember values and trained settings, etc., will also be copied across when that's defined. The other advantage of setting up a default traveller rather than using packages is some things use drop-down lists. So if we find is a thing a weapon, a thing is not a weapon. Okay, let's create a weapon. Create weapon, a new gun. Okay, so what we have here, for example, is a drop-down list of skills. And actually we can see Martial's been added to that list, though it's not a part of the defaults, it's been copied off of this character sheet. So whenever items have a drop-down list of skills or roles for spacecraft or anything else, if a default traveller is defined, then the skills defined on that character sheet will be used in these drop-downs. So if you've got common skills which aren't part of the standard setting, which you want to add in, you can do so. Set a default actor, and you can define the new skills, or even remove skills, because you can delete skills from this list if you want to, and they will appear in all the drop downs. So that's a relatively straightforward change that was made some time ago, but that's just gone out in the new version. And speaking of new versions, 0.15.0 went out this morning. That's got this change in. It's got a number of extra additions for HighGuard support, and it's also got some features which have been asked for by a number of people. So let's see. So here we have Mongoose Traveller running in Foundry version 13. I'm currently marking this as the maximum version. It's not under verified. I think everything's working. Things will open up. They seem to work, but there's still a few changes that need to be made. So the color schemes for some things, if you're in dark mode, look a bit off. So I need to play around with the CSS a bit more. But things are actually readable now. Previously, under dark mode, a lot of the text in this system wasn't readable. Basically, I've made changes to try and match the Mongoose house style in terms of how things are colored. So orange for big titles and some of the text, and some things have blue backgrounds and the sort of black text on white, which matches the Mongoose style, but which when you switch to dark mode, some things broke. Well, they didn't break, the text just wasn't visible. So it does mean if you really want white text on black, that's not going to appear, I'm afraid. There might be a way around that at some later point, but for now, I'm sort of concentrating on getting the standard view working there. The other big problem, and probably a slightly more major problem, were augments. So when I first implemented augments back in Foundry 9, I think it was, I did it in a way which wasn't strictly accurate, but it worked. But now in Foundry 13, Foundry 13 is doing some sanity checking. So when you try to open up a augment, an active effect, basically it would fall over. That's now been fixed. That requires a migration step. So if you're on Mongoose Traveller 2e 0.14, upgrade to 15, that will run the migration. The migration will work on both Foundry 12 and Foundry 13. And then after you've run that migration, you can move to Foundry 13. If you move to Foundry 13 first, it will actually break some, well, it will break any augments you've got defined. Personally, I'm still using Foundry 12. My own campaign is coming to an end, so I don't particularly want to move everything to Foundry 13 just yet. But what testing I have been able to do, and what testing some users who've provided me with some feedback. So thank you for everyone who's done that to confirm that things seem to be working. Well, things seem to be working. The next thing I'm going to take a look at is what I've been doing for HighGuard. So I've been working on getting in the general text for HighGuard. So these are, I've now got compendium packages for these, but I've also been actually scrolled down to, where are we? Also working on getting in all the ship designs. And if we take a look at actors, yeah, we've got basically, yeah, there's been a lot of work involved in importing all the HighGuard ship designs into the system. That's involved some bug fixing. That process sort of brought up some bugs or just different ways in which I interpreted the rules. For example, I always assumed holographic controls would add 25% to the total cost of a bridge. It doesn't, or at least the way it's being used within the high guard designs is it only adds it to the base cost of the bridge. So if you've got a command bridge, it won't add that 25% won't multiply the cost and size of a command bridge, for example. I assumed it did. The rules, well, the designs in HighGuard say differently. So I've modified the way my rules interpret things. There's a few actual bugs as well, and there's some missing features which needed to be added in order to get all the designs in. It's taken a while to do that, a lot longer than I expected it would. Some of the designs are very fiddly, especially when you've got advanced technology options and everything else. So I mean, some of these will come to in a bit, but yeah, they are now all done and in. I just need to import in the ship deck plans, and then I think that's pretty much it once I've finished that final step. But in the process of doing this work, I've obviously come across several issues in the actual high guard ship designs as well. Sometimes the maths doesn't quite work out. So some of my designs differ slightly from what's in high guard. I think that the differences are all due to, well, they're all pretty minor, and where possible, I've actually followed the rules rather than following the designs, unless there's a big difference in how the designs work. Okay, a slight change in plan. I did actually record the sessions where I did the ship designs for both the 200,000 ton freighter and also the dreadnought. Where are we? Not small craft, they are capital ships. So we've got the freighter, that's now been done, and the Kokurak dreadnought. They're both 200,000 tons. They're quite complicated, and I hadn't realized just how long those videos were. I was going to just paste them in at the end of this video, but they're both over half an hour long, so this would make this video way longer than it has any right to be. So I'm going to upload those as two separate videos after I've done this one. So if you are particularly interested in how I done the shipbuilding process, then by all means watch those videos. But yeah, if you're not interested in a huge amount of detail, then we've now got just a quick overview. There's a lot of equipment now, which is part of the compendium packs for High Guard. I'm afraid not yet released, but hopefully at some point sometime this year these will get released. But yeah, so that's the big thing I've been working on, going through all the ship designs, and some of them are quite complicated. And as you can see from the two videos I'll upload in a bit, it can take quite a while. So if you want to watch those, watch them. Otherwise, thank you very much for listening to this. As I said, version 0.15.0 is now out. It is now marked as compatible with version 13 of Foundry. It hasn't been fully verified against version 13 of Foundry, but if you're desperate to upgrade, then be my guest. Please try it out. Add any feedback to either comments on this video or on the Discord channel. I do try and keep an eye on it or raise issues on GitHub if you prefer to do that. Okay, thank you very much for listening, and I'll talk to you again at some point.